Hey guys, welcome back to another episode here on the Pepetto podcast. I hope you're well and I hope you've had a really good week. Today's episode might feel a little similar to the last episode I did, but this one's really important to me as something has been going on in kind of my work life and personal life at the moment, and it's kind of led me to believe in my self-sabotaging mind that I'm a failure. And looking back to that now, like the last week of hearing certain news that I didn't want to hear and that kind of thing, it's made me really sad that I felt that way about myself, even though I've come so far with my professional life, my personal life, recovery, like everything I've done is insane. And I can't get over how saddening it is for me to hear that I'm being so hard on myself still. Many episodes ago, I believe I said something that my mum and my sister once told me. I think this was about 2 years ago, maybe a year ago. I was going on about something similar to this. I was saying I'm failing at ED recovery and all that. My self-sabotaging brain was just exploding on me. And my sister and my mum turned to me and they both said, I can't remember which one said this, but they both kind of said this. Just look at how far you've come with your blog, with your podcast, with academics. Now I've dropped out, but with all these things that you've done, I did a summer camp for kids. I did a podcast project at university. Like I've done so much in my life already, and I'm only 21 and it's only just the beginning. And that's why I originally called my podcast This Is Just the Beginning, because I was at the start of my ED recovery journey. And even though, you know, it's been a while since I started that, this is why I wanted to do this podcast, because it is like anywhere you are in life right now, if you're listening to this podcast, it means one, you want to help yourself, you want to learn more about yourself, you want to get to the nitty-gritty details of your self-sabotage, why you feel emotions so much, why you cry so much, all these things that I talk about on a regular basis. Yeah, it might sound all samey to you, but it's not, because these are important things we need to talk about. And two, you're ready to do that. You're so ready to jump into that, and you want to learn more, you want to do more, you want to be okay. And I'm not saying that my podcast is going to cure everything. It's not going to make you feel okay, but it's going to help. Even just that tiniest bit, like 1%. And that's the thing that everyone's saying at the moment, or it's been a trend for many years. Or I think it was from the 5am Club book. I've never actually read it, but I think it was from that. The thing where you do 1% better every day, or for your future. I actually can't remember the quote. It's like add 1% every day for your future self to make you better. And that's all you have to do. And that's what I've always said, like do one thing a day that's going to help your future self. Whether that is like, if your main priority is your like self-care, your self-love, that kind of journey, like your personal journey, whether that's for finding love in the future. I'm not saying you've got to sign up to Tinder right now, but that's also working on yourself and your expectations and your high expectations of what you expect from your partner, like your future partner, that kind of thing. Or also your goals and your professional life and your work life and your success. All of this comes back to that kind of idea where do one thing every day that's going to help you. And that can be as small as writing in your journal today, or as big as writing out all your goals and making a plan for them. All these things do tie up, and I've always said do one bit at a time, because this is something that I've struggled with, and this is what I've been told at work recently, and this is part of it, saying that I'm getting too ahead of myself, and that angered me a lot. And I'm not really gonna slag off my work, I can't really do that, but I'm very angry and very pissed off with the kind of outcome of what has happened this week. And I will say that I was meant to have finished my probation period this week, 3-month probation period, and I went into that meeting thinking like I have poured in every single ounce of my being into work. Okay, sure, like I've got all my side hustles and those stuff that I am doing on the side, but when I'm in the office 9 till 5 and beyond, actually, I do the work. I put in so much work, I put in so much effort, and it's not really my fault that I haven't performed to their standards, that I haven't signed any influences, because the market I'm in charge of, the German market, is redundant and they hired me without any knowledge of this. So I've spent the last month doing the research into that, and I've been doing like beyond my job role. And then I got to this meeting and she said, yeah, that's not your job role, can't do that, your job role is signing influences, you've not done that, we're going to extend your probation by another 3 months. And going into it, I thought the worst case scenario would be a 1-month extension. So I sat there, and this is what I want to speak about, but it was like a 45-minute meeting, just me and my line manager. I thought HR would be in there, but no. And I sat there and she was just talking at me, reading out my report, that kind of thing, reading out everything I was doing wrong, basically. And I sat there and I thought, I can't say anything, because if I open my mouth, I'm going to cry, or I'm going to scream, or I'm going to shout, or I'm going to resign. Or probably all of the above. So I sat there and I felt so naive, or like it was my first job, or like I've never done this before, and that kind of thing. Like I think she thought that the way that I didn't bat an eyelid when she said, well, you've failed your probation and that kind of thing. I sat there and I said absolutely nothing other than, what do you expect from me now? And she was rambling on for ages, not giving me an answer. And I came home that night and I wrote a letter of resignation. I didn't hand it in because they want me to leave. That's the point, and they're trying to force me out in a way that's good for HR. Because my dad's been in business for a long time, and he explained this to me, saying they've extended it by that much because they expect you to leave, because they've realised your job is pointless, or they want to get rid of you, or they don't like you, or whatever it is. They've done that, and that kind of put my mind at ease, even if that's not the case. If genuinely I'm not performing, but that's not my fault, and I've poured so much work into it, and they've realised I'm too much of a busybody just to sit and do emails all day to influencers. But I'm parking that kind of rant now, because I don't want to rant about that company, because it was a great opportunity to have, but my values don't align with their values. I can't be somewhere that doesn't push me and prioritize personal growth and drive and ambition. That is so me, and that's not them. So I don't really want to stay at this company. I am looking for alternative jobs right now, and I could resign. I could do what they want me to do and kind of be that sheep, or be that young person who doesn't know what they're doing. I could easily resign. But then I don't think they do expect me to resign. I think they just expect me just to sit there and get on with it, in a way. But I don't really want to resign until obviously I've got another job. But at the same time, it's really painful. It's really hard, because being pushed down all the time for my work is not something that I want to do. And this isn't me being naive. I get how businesses work, especially this being a huge corporate company, like winning so many business awards, like that kind of environment. It's a fun environment, but the kind of system of the company is very much, I don't really know. I can't really talk trash about the directors or the company itself, but the way they run it isn't what I thought it would be, and it's just not what I thought it would be, to be completely honest. And I've said where I work before, so you can work that out, but I'm not going to say exactly where I work right now in this episode, because I'm scared there'll be backlash from that. But it's been shit, and that happened on Thursday. It's Saturday, and so yesterday I didn't do a lot of work because I thought, what is the point? But this is what I wanted to get onto. This is what's made me think I'm a failure with everything I do, life, whatever. And this is the self-sabotaging thoughts coming in right now. If you've ever had similar thoughts to this with work, when you get, I don't know, reprimanded, or a bad meeting, or you haven't lived up to like your KPIs or your standards or whatever, and you know that you have, or you know what I mean, like something goes on at work and you're so angry by it, and you think you failed, or you've not signed someone, or you haven't made a good sale, or whatever it is, and something happens and you immediately go, I failed. They think I failed. First of all, think about, and this is me being very hypocritical, but this is what I'm trying to do, and this is how I'm trying to help you with it as well. But first of all, think about your mindset towards it. Think about, have I failed? How much work have I put into this? How much time have I done? What went wrong? And secondly, probably the most important thing, bring it back to the question of, have I actually failed? What's happened? As soon as you use this logical mindset thing, okay, X happened, which caused Y to happen. Obviously, if it's a big thing that happened at work, which is your fault, okay, that's different. But if this is something like I've been going through, where you believe you've put in so much effort, hold on to that. Don't think, oh, they failed. I failed. Don't think that. Of course, you're going to think that. But say, okay, I've put in so much effort. Okay, they're blaming it on me, but this might not necessarily is my fault. But we just have different values. But at the same time, I guess at work, you've got to get your head down. But this has kind of been my breaking point at work, where I don't enjoy the atmosphere and I really want to get out, but I'm just trying so hard not to send a letter in. Because in my mind, because I'm going to Berlin on Wednesday to see Neela. She was on my podcast well over a year ago now. And we're going to do some podcasts together while we're there, do not worry. But I'm going to see her. She's moving to Berlin. Well, she's there now, actually. She's moving in with her dad, because she's originally from Austria. She's moving to Berlin to start her yoga business, which I'm so excited. I'm just so excited to see her. So I'm going to go see her. But I'm going Wednesday to Friday. And during probation, your notice period is usually 1 week, and mine's 1 week. So it's kind of good that I've got 3 months to get out and just have 1 week of work left. So I wanted to hand in my resignation yesterday, Friday, or even Monday morning, because then next week would be my last week. And we've got like an athlete visit Monday, Tuesday, and then I'm away. So it would be a really easy week, but I didn't want to do that. Or I really did want to do that, but I decided no, just stick with it. My dad was like, stick with it until you find another job, even though it's shit. You don't have to put all the work in, just be there, take their money basically. And that's what I'm going to do, to be honest. It's a bit petty, but I don't care at the moment. Going back to this point of like failing though, also think about the fact that you don't have to prove yourself to people. Okay, in a business environment, it's all about proving yourself to your boss, especially in the probation period. Like, that is the point of it, is to prove that you can do the job. You don't need someone to hold your hand, whatever. That's the point of the probation period, right? Don't think that you have to prove yourself to them though in the way that they have to like you or those kind of superficial things. Okay, yeah, you've got to prove yourself in terms of your job role, but that's it. And if you've put in the work to prove yourself to that, and all you care about is that, that's how your mindset shifts. And that's what's happened to me the past 2 months. I've been there, I've hated it. The first month was fun, like being trained up, all of that. The last 2 months have been dire, and so much has happened, and so much has gone wrong and right. There have been ups and downs, but so much has gone on. And I hate being there, but then I'm like, okay, this is just a business environment. Anywhere I go, I'm not going to be the head of the department. Yeah, I'm 21. I'm always going to be pushed around a little bit because I'm young. And that's what I'm trying to also hang on to at the moment. And I don't know whether you're the same if you've just got a grad job, because I know a lot of you have graduated and looking for jobs. You are going to be pushed around and it is going to be shit. But then give it a year, 2 years, you're going to fly. Because at my last job, it was only in the last kind of 3 months of me being there that I was involved in every decision. Before, I was just making graphics and posting on social media. In fact, I wasn't even allowed to do that. All I could do was design it, get it signed off, and then my boss would post it. You know what I mean? Like, there was so much approval, but by the end of it, I could just do it. And then I was involved in product meetings, marketing meetings, brand meetings. I was involved in all of it because I'd been there one of the longest people, even though that was just under a year. Like, people were dropping like flies in that company for various reasons. But I don't regret leaving at all because I needed to for my own growth. But I could have stayed there and I could have been a higher position, pay rise, all of that. I could have done that. But I made my decision to move to this company. And I'm not a failure. I keep thinking that I failed, and you can so relate to this. Anyone can relate to this in any aspect of life. And I'm like, I failed. And I look back and think, everything else in my life, I've not failed on. I've not failed on this, not failed on that. I do everything to my best ability. And it's the feeling that for all you high achievers, I've never failed in my life. Okay, the worst feeling I had was when I got a C in one of my GCSEs, but that was further maths. Of course, like, you know me, I'm a language and marketing person. I'm not a maths person. I got a C in my further maths exam, which I didn't want to take anyway, but my teacher made me take it. I remember that was the last time I felt that way. And going to uni, if you've been an A-star student your whole life and you go to uni and you start getting like 60%, that's just university. Like, no one gets high. I mean, I've got a few friends who got in the 80s their whole time at uni, but that is so rare. That was a shock to me as well. But this is the first time where I'm like, I failed, and I've never failed, and that's what I'm trying to work out. And I keep putting the blame obviously on the company, my boss, whatever. I'm like, it's not my fault. Yeah, okay, it is a bit of my fault because I've been trying to push them. I've been trying to say, no, we need to do this. I've been trying to change the system. And that's what my boss told me. She was like, you can't come in and change the system. Like, you just can't do that. Like, you've just been hired. You're in probation, blah, blah, blah. But the other thing she was saying, like, I just didn't agree with. So, but I get what she's saying there. Like, you can't go in to a new job, even if you are the head of something, unless you've been hired to change something, which some companies do. They want a new marketing manager to come in and completely change it all. Some companies want that, or some companies don't want that, but then you push it and they're like, okay, yeah, I'll bend for you. Stuff like this when you're 21 and you're going into an executive role, which is basically an assistant, or just, you know what I mean, it's not actually an executive, they always put those titles on, or something like that. You go in and you can't push them, you can't change anything, and it feels shit. And that's what I didn't like about this company, because I feel a bit cocky because I'm 21. I don't have loads of experience, even though I feel like I do. I feel like I have the knowledge, but not the proof of the experience, if you know what I mean. So I feel so cocky when I go and say, we need to do this, and then they're like, no, hang on a second, you can't come in and do that. And it feels shit because you know that your way could possibly work because their way's not working, but you can't do it. And that's what I've been battling as well. Like, okay, I am in the wrong because, you know, professionally, I'm not the greatest because I'm trying to push everything. But if I could sit down with a meeting and say this, yeah. But the whole point of that meeting on Thursday, of me just sitting there not saying anything, I kind of regretted it because I've really wanted to actually say my piece and said how hard I work and all of this, and saying, look, if you don't value this, then I'm leaving. But I think that's what they wanted me to do, because I sat there for the rest of the day. The meeting was at like 2 p.m. and I just sat there silent. I did go to the toilet to cry because I needed to let it out, and I was just angry. Obviously I was upset as well, but I was just so angry. And that's okay. Like, emotions, you're allowed to feel them, and you're not a failure from it. Like, I'm using this as a growing chapter. I get that most of the podcast has been negative so far, so flip it on its side. This is the self-sabotage thinking, and you're not failing. Like, if you look back at everything else you've done, whether that's academics, like past jobs, university, successful friendships, successful relationships, a nice house, like even just little things like that, you've not failed. You're doing the best you can right now, and I say this in every episode, but you are doing the best you can, even if you don't think you are. And you've put in so much time and effort. Like, I know everyone here, you think, oh, I'm not doing great at work. You've still put in all the time and effort possible at the moment. That might be because your mental health isn't the best, but if you know that you're trying your best, and if you are trying your best, which I hope you are, but I probably know that you are as well, but put in your best. And if that's not good enough, that's not your fault. And that's what I've kind of come to terms with. Again, I'm trying not to be like naive, young, cocky, whatever, but I've come to terms with it. If they don't like my style of work, I know you're supposed to bend to the new company you're in, all of that, but at the same time, if they don't appreciate my values of growth and drive, then I don't want to be at a company like that. So on the like positive side, I am staying there until I find a job, and I already have an interview on Wednesday, which is really exciting for me. Just before I go on holiday, literally as soon as the interview's over, I'm getting on a plane, so it's gonna be a bit of a stress, but I'm so excited for that interview. And it was more of like someone headhunted me, which was quite cool. It's in a very similar job role as well. So, but at the same time, I've started my social media business, and I've already got a few clients, and it's so exciting. Like, I can so see this taking off. So today I'm really going to be focused on doing that, and also finishing my PT course. I hate, because I've never wanted to like start something and not finish it. I've never one like that. But with this, I've just done that. It's been over a year since I started it, which is really bad. So I need to get on that before, I don't know, there might be an expiry date on it. So, and I paid a lot of money to do that. So that's on my list to do, I think, tomorrow now, because I've got a lot of client work to do today, preparation, and loads of email marketing just to get my name out there, basically. And that's what I'm planning to do. And this is my goal. And it's my dream to do, because it's freelancing. I can do it from anywhere. Just get on a call with someone and say, hey, do you want to work with me? And then when I do have a client, just call them up every now and again saying, you need to do this, you need to change that. Like, that is my dream. But I wanted to start it after I've had some experience in the field, both in content creation as my last job, and then now influencer marketing. And I wanted to get loads more experience involved, but this is just my side hustle for now. And I'm trying not to put loads of work into it, because I'm tired. Like, I can't do that. So I am just kind of treating it as a side hustle for now, but I can see it taking off. And the fact that I've just done it, like last week I bought my website and everything, and first of all, I felt this was a mistake, because obviously it's not expensive to get a website, because I've got one for my blog, but it's not expensive, but it's not cheap in a way to pay. But I'm glad I have, because now I'm just pouring out things to do, and my mind's a lot happier, because I mean, obviously work isn't going the best, so I'm pouring my positive energy into this. And I couldn't be more excited for it to like go ahead, and I really think I can make a difference with this. My main goal with it is to work with influencers, not necessarily businesses, but I want to work more with small businesses. I'm charging very little because I don't have loads of experience, but I've got the knowledge and I've got the drive behind it. I think that's what makes me valuable, but people don't see that. Especially when you want to work with someone, you want to see their portfolio, that the evidence of them succeeding, that kind of thing. Like, I get that. And it's so hard to sell your ambition and your drive, and that's what I've tried to do at work. That's what I've tried to do in the past. Obviously, for like a job interview, that works, but then for anything else, it never works. But that's something that I really respect. If I see someone with drive, they're immediately my friend. I love people who go above and beyond. Okay, it is a downfall, because it is those who are overachievers at school, and that is me. I'm doing so much in one go, and that's what I talked about last episode with all the burnout. I have kind of come to terms with it now, and this is going to be my focus, I think. And I'm not saying like the next job I have, I'm going to have that as a secondary job. No, like obviously a 9 to 5 job, getting paid for on like payroll is your main focus. And that's what I've been trying to battle recently. Because in a way, I just want to resign now and just focus on this, but I need to have a job at the same time, because otherwise I'll be earning nothing other than the odd payment with my clients at the moment, which is not enough to live on. It's nowhere near enough. So I'm trying to build up that first, and maybe, who knows, in a year's time it could really take off. And that's like, this is the positive side of it. Like yesterday I was like, right, you know what, let's just grow my business, let's just do it. I have contacts with the influencers I've been speaking to in my job right now. I can go off the rails a bit and say, hey, do you want a manager? Like, I can help you with that. Because the side I'm doing is more like the content side, like content strategy, rather than managing. Like, I'm trying to think of a word, like my job's title, because I'm not really their manager. I think more of like consultant would be a good word, but it is more of like a friend. Like the people I've been speaking to, I've known for the last 3 months at my job, and they really want to work with me because I've built this connection with them. So it is all about that, and it is just trying to use the connections I have. And that's like anything in life, but especially in marketing, it's all about connections. Like my boyfriend is still trying to find a job at the moment. It's been a few months and he just can't find anything, and he's had interviews but they've not gone the way he wanted them to go, and he's just really like down about it. And I'm like, you've got to go at a different angle. Email marketing is the best thing. Just send emails out to brands you want to work with, and that's what I'm doing. And it is that thing where, going back to the failure, like I've not failed because look, I've got this side of my life that's going so well, and I'm being headhunted for jobs already. And I don't want to sound cocky, but I know, and this is what I mean, like sometimes you can sound really cocky and arrogant. You probably listen to this episode and think, wow, she's a cocky shit. And that's fine. I think I am in some aspects, but I know my worth, even though most of the time I don't. But in times like this, I think I've needed this to realise, okay, Ellie, buck up. You know your worth. Like, what's the point in crying about it? And of course, as I've said, emotions are good. Emotion means you're feeling something, because I think, I mean, this is going to sound quite morbid, but a lot of us, sometime in our life, we do face a point where we just feel numb. And I felt this, and it's a horrible feeling, because if you know me through just like listening to me through my podcast, or you know me like as a friend, like you know that I cry all the time. I have so much emotion, which I think is a good thing, because it shows I'm passionate about everything I do, from work to relationships to anything. That I pour so much emotion into it. But it's also a downfall, as you can see from work. Like, I'm so passionate, it's a downfall. I try too hard. I try too hard in relationships. I try so hard, and I think everyone can feel this way. But emotions are good. And yeah, it can be a downfall, and you should really work on it. I mean, there's no shoulds, but it would be good to work on it and try and work out why you get so angry, why you pour all this emotion in. And I've realised it's for many reasons. It's because of failed relationships in the past, failed friendships, and it definitely comes back to beginning of high school friendships that went down the drain, and suddenly my best friend just left my life for no reason at all. And I think it does like genuinely come from that. And that sounds so petty, but I don't want to say trauma, but life experiences like that can have a huge effect on you, especially at that age. Like, that was during the start of puberty, and that's why we fell apart, I think. But she just suddenly walked out my life, and I think I've mentioned this before, and it is a horrible feeling to face. And a lot of my kind of trying too hard, and especially in friendships and relationships, I think it comes from that. It also comes from my personality as an overachiever. Like, it definitely does as well. Like, I pour so much energy and emotion into everything I do, and I'm just going around in circles here, but it's a good thing, first of all. But it's just finding a way to deal with it on a daily basis without crying about everything, especially at work. Like, crying at work is my lowest point, when I cried about when I had a relapse. But that's why I was like, I can't cry during this probation meeting. I can't do it. So I went to the toilet and cried, and was just angry the rest of the day. And I think sometimes, like, I cry mainly when I'm angry or frustrated as well. When I'm frustrated with myself, I cry, or someone else, or just frustrated. Like, that's why I cry, and why I get then angry from it, because then I get angry that I'm crying, and I get so just confused. But yeah, and it is hard. And this podcast has been more of a rant than anything, but you are not failing, like, you are growing. And I know sometimes you're like, oh, fuck off, that's not true, like, shut up. But it is true. Like, you are, like, use this as a chapter to grow. If you think, I'm gonna use my boyfriend as an example, and he'll probably hate this, but I believe that he's thinking, what's the point in applying for more jobs? I'm not getting any. It's pointless. I'm failing. Again, self-sabotage, but also not self-sabotage. Like, he has been trying for months and nothing's happened, which is why I don't want to resign without a job, without a backup, because I don't want to go through what he's been through, because I've been going through it with him, and it's horrible. And I'm not saying like he made a bad decision. I'm not, like, I don't want to do that though, because I've seen how detrimental it is on him. I'm not even saying about like on a CV or like whatever, but like on him, it's so hard. And I know that he's thinking, oh my god, I'm failing, or that kind of emotion. And I just like shake him all the time, like, no, you're not, like, you are trying, and this is just a lesson to be learned in the future. Don't do this, or you've got to come at it at a different angle, or just wait and use this time. I was like, use this time to do something else, like he's into sports, so get a PT course, or like do something good with your time, because he's not been doing that. He has just been down about it, which is fine. I said, like, emotions are absolutely fine, especially when you hit something like that in your life where you don't have a job, like you feel pointless, I guess. Do something with your time. Again, buck up. And I don't know why I keep saying that phrase. I don't know where I heard it from, but just buck up and get on with it. Like, I know it's so hard, and I'm not saying man up, grow up. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that sometimes it hits a point where you're like me and I mope around about everything. But I just, like, my sister's always like, stop going on about it, because I go on about everything all the time. She's like, stop holding on to things, just let it go and just get on with it. And that's what I plan to do, and I hope you plan to do that too. Like, I don't want to sound harsh, but sometimes that's the best option. You've done your moping for months or however long. Now it's time to just get on with it and get that motivation back and get that spark back, because I have that back with most things in life at the moment. But I am still walking around on eggshells, like, to me, and my family are doing it too. Like, I feel a bit out of control still, and I don't know, like, I do feel a bit like not mentally there, but I am working on it. And stuff like this happening, like with my client base growing, and even like me, like, quotation marks, failing at my job, or like that not going the way I wanted it to go, that's like motivated me. Because like, obviously Thursday, Friday, I was like, oh my god, I hate this. Like, I felt almost embarrassed. I was like, who gets like a double probation period? Like, who on earth does that? Because I've never had anything happen like that in my life. I've always been like the good student, like the good person, and I've always been like that. And this is kind of like a reality check for me to be like, okay, let's just get on with it. I'm not going to stay there for much longer. I'm going to find another job. I'm just going to get on with it. And it's fine. Like, that's my goal to do. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to get on with things and basically just suck it up. Use this kind of time in your life to realise everything you've been through in life, however small or big, no matter if it's you went to uni or I don't know, like, even stuff like that, everything you've done, you've experienced, you've been through, your hardships, your good ships, I don't know, like the good things, the bad things, like everything you've been through in life and done in life is a lesson to be learned. They're all good things. Even if you faced trauma in really shitty situations, you've grown through that, you're still here, and that's something to be proud of. Like, if you have a day, a week, a month, a year where you are not yourself and you feel like shit and you feel like your life is falling apart and you don't know what to do anymore, think about that. Think you've been through it. And if you're thinking, I'm in that hardship now, like I'm in that low, I've hit rock bottom, you're still here, like you've been through it, and that's the best thing. Like, you're still pushing every day, even if it is just getting out of bed, you're still doing something every day to battle that. And that is, I'm so proud of you for doing that, because I've been there and I'm there right now as well. Like, we've all been there, and I'm not saying like we've all done it, so like it's not that hard on you. I'm not saying that because I validate everyone's emotions. Like, your shittest day of your life might be someone's average day for someone who's been through loads of shit in life. And I hate when people say that, when people say, oh, there's people starving in Africa. Like, I don't know, stuff like that, where it's like, have perspective. Of course have perspective, but your shittest day of your life, although people might not look at it as the shittest day of your life, you know, it's shit to you, and you have to validate that. Stop saying, oh, people have worse problems than you. Yeah, but this is your worst problem, and you've got to battle that. And if you go to therapy, like I've had this thought when I go to therapy, thinking, my problems aren't as bad as other people. I'm not grieving someone. I'm not having like a severe mental breakdown. Like, you know what I mean? I've not, like, I start invalidating my feelings, and my therapist always says, Ellie, no, like, she's told me that she's like, this is shit for you, so we're going to speak about you here, we're going to get you through it. I don't care what anyone else has gone through, this is your time. And that's what you have to use, that I'm not saying in your therapy sessions, but this is your time to feel your emotions. And it can feel shit if you've got friends or family who you're trying to support at the same time, who you know are actually going through shitter things. Maybe they've lost someone and you're just hitting like a life crisis. Okay, like, yeah, compare, have that perspective. But if, like, you've got to have the boundaries. Like, if you're trying to help your friends through something, but you are feeling like shit and you have no energy left, use your boundaries. And okay, they might turn around and say to you, oh, fuck off, if you say, look, I can't speak about this right now. But a true friend, in my opinion, would be mad at you if they really want to speak to you. But at the same time, they would understand it. Don't feel like you have to hide your emotions away just because someone else is feeling shit. It is hard. Like, you can't be like, oh, hey, can I talk about my emotions now? And that's what I'm trying to not do as well. Like, me and Neela, my best friend, moving to Berlin, like, me and her are both going through a bit of shit at the moment. Obviously, she's moving country. I mean, I know it's right next door, but she's moving country. I've hit this thing at work and I had a relapse at the moment, and we're both kind of hit a wall. And we have this thing where, because I'm helping her with her socials, so we phone every Sunday afternoon. And we've said with boundaries, because we're both in the same mindset. I mean, she's got her own podcast, she speaks about very similar things, I'll link it in the show notes, but we have a very similar attitude to life. And we say with boundaries, we just say, text each other the word stop. If, especially with her socials, like, she's like spamming me with inspiration for me to use, or I'm doing the same, or I'm saying, hey, can you record this video, can you get this photography done, get this caption done, like, if we're doing stuff like that, we just text the word stop. Like, literally, you know, when you've like signed up to something on text and they say text stop to stop receiving like text from us, literally that. And we know, like, not to talk about it. We don't send a text back, we just say okay, and we give each other some space until that person who's texted that comes and says, okay, I'm ready. And as annoying as it can be, like, on both ends, like, sometimes it's like, oh, but I really want to speak to you about this thing. Annoying as it can be, it's so healthy to do that. And I've tried to incorporate that into my relationship with my boyfriend, but we're not on the same wavelength with that kind of thing. Like, yeah, okay, he does listen to what I have to say about kind of what I think about mindfulness, self-love, growth, all of what I speak about on this. Like, he does have patience with me saying stuff like that to him, but at the same time, he's like, I don't really believe in that shit, especially like manifestation or like stuff that I do go on about that people don't really believe in, but I do, and that's my passion. Like, he does respect that. I'm not saying he doesn't, but it is a bit harder to do with someone who doesn't really understand it. But it's not up to you to educate them, but try at the same time. So if you're in a very similar situation to me right now, you might be going through something worse, but I'm not going to invalidate my feelings for that. But I do have perspective as well, by the way. I'm not just saying that I don't, but I've been through shit, and that's shit for me, and that's all I have to really say about that. But if you are going through something really hard on you right now, mentally, relationships, professionally, whatever you're going through, take a step back now. And after this kind of long episode of me ranting, but take a step back and think, okay, what am I going to do now? What can make me feel better? And that might be something as simple as, I'm going to stay in bed all day, or I'm going to have a Netflix day, or I'm going to take myself out on a date, or something like that to make you feel better in the moment. That's what you want to do first. Whether it is just have a shower, like simple things like that, or have something to eat, or make your favourite coffee, or go get a coffee, like just simple things like that. Okay. Or might be go to the gym, do exercise, but I'm not going to encourage that. But whatever it is that makes you feel better in that moment. You might not want to feel better in that moment, but it does get to a point, doesn't it, when you've been like moping around for hours, days, weeks, and you're like, right, I actually need to do something with my life now. Start very small. If you've been in a mopey situation, start small, like have a shower. I'm not saying that you've probably not showered for weeks, but I've hit points in my life where I have done that, maybe not a week, but a good few days, and I'm like, right, okay, sort yourself out, have a shower, go for a walk, and just kind of have a reset. It will be hard, like I cry when I do it, but it will be hard, but start small. Then ask yourself, how can you help yourself in this situation? Not in the moment. What can you do now to make it better? If you're feeling shit at work, can you resign? Or can you have an open conversation with your boss? Is your boss that kind of person? Is HR that kind of person, without writing a complaint or something? Or speak to a colleague, like speak to one of your friends at work. Speak to someone about it if it's a work thing. Or is it something that you actually don't want to be there? Start looking for other jobs. I'd say resign, but we both know how I feel about that with you not having a backup job. Is it you thinking your goals are failing? Have you even tried them yet? Have you tried doing your goals? What about your relationship? Have a chat with your partner. Stuff like this, like what can you do right now? Obviously, if it's a weekend and it's a work thing, okay, no, but what can you plan for to speak to people about? How can you help the situation right now? Is it that bad that you don't want to be in that situation anymore? Like break up with your partner or leave your work or whatever it is. Think about what you can do. And it is hard, and you might be like, I don't know, it's just shit. You've got to control that thinking. You've got to be like, okay, no, I actually need to sort this out because I'm in not a good mental state. You need to think that. And from there, you can then grow through that. You might think a few weeks after you've made that kind of decision, it was the wrong decision. But for you at that time, it was the right decision, and you might regret things. Regret is a common thing. Like, you will regret things in life, but grow from it. Don't get stuck in that regret. Just grow from it. And that's kind of all I really have to say in this episode. I hope you have learned something from this, and just know that you're not failing. You're not giving up either. That's the main. You are not giving up, okay? Keep pushing every day. Keep trying to get 1% better every day for your future self. Do one thing every day that's going to help you, and you'll be fine. It's so shit at the moment with, I think everyone is hitting like a quarter life crisis or whatever. Like, I know all my friends are. It'll be fine. Okay, and focus on your goals, focus on your dreams. If that's going to help you, I always say don't look too far into the future, but with your dreams, just, I don't know, make a vision board if that helps you, that kind of thing, or just write in your journal, like have something up on your wall to make you remember, like, okay, this is my dream, or even just like an inspirational quote, like something really stupid, like you might think, but it might help you. Like write it on your mirror. Like I use a whiteboard pen in my mirror to write quotes sometimes, like if I've gone to bed feeling shit. And before I go to bed, I'll write like a love yourself quote, or like if it's body positivity or something like that, I do that, and that is really helpful. It might feel stupid you doing it, but it really is helpful. And also be proud of how far you've come, because that attitude will get you very far in life. Even if you don't think you've come very far, you have, okay? You are still here, you're still trying every day. So on that note, I'm gonna say have a good weekend, and I'll speak to you very soon. I'll give you an update on my situation very soon, hopefully next week. But my next episode will be with Neela in Berlin. It should be a video episode. Might be my first. Because I am posting it on my Instagram, but I'm yet to start on YouTube. It should be my first. And I'm very excited about that. It might be in a park. That's my vibe. So I'm very excited for that, and we're going to go for it. Absolutely. So I'll speak to you very soon with Neela, and have a very good weekend.